Hello and welcome to our new show, Secret Sauce, where we have questions posed by you guys and ourselves to people within the industry to have a deeper look at what goes on within within the esports industry. In this season, we're tackling coaching, and we have two experienced coaches with us, Vetrezz and Mr.G. We have myself, Jamil, and Omar as well on the show. And without further ado, let's start.
So let's start with the first question. What role does an organization play in the success of a team? So we have, when we're talking about an organization, we're talking about an esport organization or maybe just any other competitive organization. What role does the organization in general play in terms of the success of a team? Let's start with Mr. G.
I was going to throw it to Vetrezz because that guy's in organizations.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Can I pass that one over first?
Okay, why not?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, that's a good question actually, because an organization is actually the key to win something in esports, is how I always place it, because you can see that teams without organizations usually don't make it that far, as far as the teams that have a support of an organization. So my thoughts on this point or this question is that an organization should focus on supporting the players with everything outside of the game that they are playing or the tournaments they're in. Like, they should take care of the whole life basically of a player and support them as hard and as good as they can, so the team or the players can perform the best that they can. Like, they have to reach their whole potential, and they can only do that if they have like full focus on the things that they do. So an org is more like a big family that supports, that clearly takes over the points that are outside of games, and the org should also share the visions and the goals of the team, or even put their goals and visions in front of the team so they can achieve them for the like with help of them. That is what I would say is the org's role in esports. What do you think about it?
Happy to go with that one. Like Vetrezz, I think that an org has got to remove distractions. But an org is also sort of like a multi-layered animal, and everybody's got a job to do. Everybody has a role, and what you're trying to do very much is accomplish that common vision that Vetrezz was talking about. And in this particular case, we're talking about a successful org, a successful teams. They've got to be, and this is measured by winning. So I think the org, in setting up the process to win, has to ensure that every layer, from vision to board owners and actually operations, is giving the players what they need to perform. And if they're performing and the measurables are hitting, then you know that the org is doing its job. It's also very easy to see when the org is not doing its job.
I think you can tell by the lack of performance, or like you see the hiccups, or maybe it's something you don't see on the competitive stage, but it's something that you can definitely feel when you're within the organization. Like, there's something that doesn't mesh well,
Yeah, like when sometimes there's a team of star players and they're like just underperforming, and it's just a mystery why. I think that would be attributed to failure in the organization. You said that there are stuff that the organization should handle so the player wouldn't have to. Can you give us a few examples of it, Vetrezz?
Yeah, for example, myself in the role of a team manager, I'm also part of the organization at Wave Esports, for example. Like, I do all the sign-ups, I tell the players what tournament clients they need to use, I tell them when they play, I tell them when we meet up, I do all the scheduling, so the players just check their phone once, see, oh, okay, I have to be there at this time, everything else is already done, so they just come at their PC at certain times and they just have to play and full focus on everything else besides all of outside the game.
So the player only has to focus on playing, and then you have the team managers and the staff taking care of everything else. I think it's also very motivating to see that everything works in a flow, you know. Everything, like as a player, you feel at ease knowing that you're being supported by the organization to win, and that when they really tell you, because actions speak louder than words, so when they tell you we want to win, and then they support you through those actions by providing either staff, by having the coaches really be hands-on, for example, I think that really also boosts their confidence. The players boost their confidence so that they can perform, and they know that if I do need anything to win, I feel like there's a lack in something, I can also ask for it.
And if I could just add one little flip around, and that is the players are also not just playing for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So when in a funny kind of a way, Vetrezz pointed out he's team manager, which means he's kind of basically directly part of the player team or the playing team, and he's part of the org. So he holds a very critical in the middle of their position. And at the same time, players are not brought in to play for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They're brought to play for the org. That's why we're looking for a really strong synergy between an org that can deliver for the players and the players who are there to deliver for the org. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mutual vision.
Yeah.
So would you say the org can provide stuff outside of the game as well for the players, other than just managing, making sure that right now the player is only playing the game, but what about for the future maybe, or like other stuff in life? Are they also the organization's responsibility, or is it like the organization has to do everything that is related to gaming and its surrounding, nothing else?
I would say that it depends in what scale you actually operate, because like the highest tier teams, they usually put up sleep schedules, they plan the whole day, they plan all the foods, they plan workouts and everything, so they basically guide the players through their whole life, paying them salaries, and giving them lawyers or even like tax attorneys or something that they just get through their whole stuff that in life, which is everything besides gaming. So it depends on the scale of an org, but that is like the vision of most orgs that want to become one of the biggest ones, that they can just like, they can even house the players, so the players don't have to do anything in their life besides playing the game for the team, and then they can just perform at their maximum capacity that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I think that if the org is doing what I consider to be its job, it has to remember that by and large, and the player rosters are young, and now that means that a gamer's life may be, depending on the game that they're playing and the level that they're playing at, the gamer's life may be, or gaming life may be, relatively short.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think that part of the other thing that an org should be keeping in mind is one of its obligations to players is to also help them in one way or another to see life beyond gaming.
Yeah.
At this stage, though, I would have to say, I mean, Vetrezz said it, it depends on the scope or the size of orgs themselves. And in part, the esport scene. I think when we look at orgs, we will see great practice and absolutely poor practice, all in the same field sometimes. So I think that it'll be a very, very interesting space to watch in terms of maybe the regulation of orgs in some way. Will orgs be in any way ever pressured to give back to the community? So, you have a lot of other organizations outside of esport have to think about corporate responsibility.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And in theory, that should filter all the way down to the players.
Mm-hmm.
When you see sports teams, you see, I'm going to refer to basketball, you see basketball players go to the local gyms and do training with kids.
Yeah.
They're giving back to the communities. So I think that in many ways, strong orgs will be already thinking this way, but it's something that esports should potentially consider part of its responsibility too. Yeah.
I think so far it's only a few initiatives that are, you know, like certain events, like supporting, for example, supporting a cause, holding an event that supports a certain cause or something like that. But I think since esports is not as big as like these corporations, maybe we don't see that. But definitely this will help, and it also creates a more positive image for the entire industry as well. Even if it's something quote unquote enforced by the organizers, because ultimately organizers are the ones that regulate the orgs.
Yeah.
So it could be something, definitely, like participating in something. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and I just mean it in a way to go back to the question you asked us, which is, you know, what do they do in terms of playing, you know, ensuring the success of a team?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that setting examples and expectations and modeling, you know, behavior and professionalism is part of showing a team how to be successful by being a successful org.
Definitely.
Nice.
Like so so many good ideas were thrown around the question, and I think we can agree that it comes down to being a good org from top to bottom, and having it trickle down from not just from management saying what they want to do, but actually being a force of action and taking action to do what they mean to do, taking those necessary steps, empowering the people within the org, whether it's players or staff, and just carrying out that strategy, being able to get those wins, whether on an operational level or also from a team competitive level as well.
Mm-hmm.